welcome to the Stellar Show, episode 33 here on Fayette County TV, channel 77, Q Call and Breeze Line with myself, Ken Philipov, Sheriff Duke here, and Stellar's collectible shop owner inside of Uniontown Mall, Victor Malik. What's up, Victor? What do you got?
Big thing going on at the Uniontown Mall right now is Spirit of Halloween is really kicking in. Start to pay attention, guys. The Halloween's right around the corner. We got to get through Labor Day first, then we're going to Halloween, but there's a lot of people coming up here. Come up and see what's going on at the Uniontown Mall.
Cool. So, training camp last week. What any thoughts?
Great day. I'd like to thank Fayette TV, Breeze Line, everybody for participating down there with Go Laurel Highlands. We had an absolute blast down there. I made a fool out of myself. I'm just not the athlete I once was.
Your form on that kicking, but I'll tell you what, I impaled that tackling dummy. That was awesome watching that.
A lot of people saying I on that.
I called it out.
You were the linebacking legend at that point, and I went soft.
Yeah, right. Well, I hope you took some pointers. But and I do want to throw this out there for all linebackers, defensive backs, running backs, and wide receivers. You saw how he ran his route, and you saw how I ran my route. Once the ball's in the air, your route is to the ball.
I really have nothing to say to that because I was wrong. I was looking more for the Lynn Swan-esque catch over the padding.
I just want them points.
I rounded off a corner. You had a crisp cut, broke back across the middle. It was good,
so
I admit.
One thing I had mentioned that we brought up camp memories. This is actually one of the first cards that Ben would have signed at training camp.
This was the one you were discussing that day.
This is the one I kept for myself, yeah. So I remember I gave him 5 cards that day. He signed 5, which I gave 4 away. But that one I kept. So that was one of the first 5 cards that Ben signed at training camp. After
his signature, if this was signed in, 2004 or 5?
Yes. Yep, 4.
It has stayed very similar.
4. I'm glad it's interesting you say that, sidebar, but I was watching Tom Brady talk about how...
Yeah, the 1 and the 2.
Yeah. How cool is that, right?
I looked on the one that's down there. We'll get you a picture of it with the PSA certificate on. I don't see the 1 and the 2 on that one. So that must have been after the change on it.
Fun sports
Not
stuff.
my problem, it's PSAs.
That's right, or Beckett or whoever. But speaking of just fun out and about, Fayette County night over at the Washington Wild Things Park, and I think that's what they call that stadium, over in Washington, August 31st. The tickets start at $10. It's a good time. Get over there. Refreshments are always cheap, and it's a good time, actually. For anyone that's never been there, get over there and enjoy the night. What else is going on, man?
The Steelers softball game's coming up?
No, that's already come and gone.
We missed that totally?
Yeah, we didn't miss much from what I seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So let's see here.
So what was your favorite part of training camp day?
That we were out there?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I think hanging out with Mean Dean was the best part of it. That's my first shot at it. But you almost forgot to tell Dean thank you for everything he did for us.
I tell Dean thank you all the time. I hope
you were stumbling over there.
I'm going through my notes.
Wanted to make sure Dean got mentioned.
No, Dean was going to get mentioned. I got that covered. But I hope you didn't work on that all week.
No, it just came to me right now. Because what I wanted to do was tell everybody out there, I apologize. Dean, as you saw last show, agreed that they're not selling the shoes in the pro shop there, but he did explain to me, and I hope it was on the show, that you can buy them online. So go to Steelers Pro Shop online, especially high school athletes. Use those shoes.
Oh, you know what? I'm all over the place here myself. Let me get back to my notes here.
You're all screwed up because of the Mean Dean thing.
Nah, it's been a long week. Oh, you know what? So you're no-go for Skeens tonight?
Tonight, no. I'm looking forward probably Saturday. So, guys, you probably won't see me here Saturday after 5 o'clock because, 6:40 first pitch?
Yeah.
Try to get down there early to see Barry Bonds get inducted into what he should have been a long time ago and should be inducted into the Professional Baseball Hall of Fame.
So we got Skeens pitching twice his homestand. You know what? It's the summer of Skeens continues, not to be confused with Seinfeld's Van or Son of Sam. But no, you know what? And plus Bonds. So we got 3 games over the next 5 days for Pirates-wise. It'll be a good time. And you know what? Speaking, I know I just got the super fan excited by saying Son of Sam, and Seinfeld's Van. But super fan. he's recycling his old material. He went back to sending me fan mail typed on top of death certificates with our personal information on it. He's targeting you and Duke now too. But yeah, you know what? It's like
nice to be appreciated.
Yeah, but you know what? When I used to get jammed up when I made those legendary calls back in the day, I couldn't think of anything. I'd just go flush the toilet on Pomp or whoever. And but come on, man, Superfan. If you want mentioned, you got to come up with something better than that. Anything before we close this up?
Sounds good.
Malloy's Paving, 724-277-8037, 724-323-4179. We'll be back after this.
Discover the soul of Broadway Impossible Dreams at the State Theater in Uniontown with Teron Brooks as he reimagines Broadway classics like never before. Experience a night of love, loss, and hope. Get your tickets now at 724-439-1360 or www.statetheater.info. The soul of Broadway Impossible Dreams at the State Theater in Uniontown.
Welcome back to the Stellar Show here on Fayette County TV, Channel 77, Breeze Line, Q Call, and hopefully some more people coming down the road. Victor Malik, the Duke, and myself, we're going to jump into Caden's favorite segment where we open up a pack of cards. But before we do that, Yinzer Valley Farms. I know there's wing nights, trivia nights. Get on all of the social medias. It's a great venue for weddings, so get on there and check them out. But before we talk about fantasy football, like I said, Caden's favorite segment, I dug up one of your favorite fantasies as a child growing up. I got Here Comes Bo. It's a pack of cards dedicated to Bo Derek.
Oh, absolutely. The movie 10.
That's why I was like, okay, yeah, we could have some fun with this. So let's see, what year is this from? It does not. It's 1981. So this is going to be a 44-year-old piece of gum, maybe. Let's see what color it is.
These could be explicit photos. You are aware, right? This is in the days of HBO and Cinemax, if I remember
well,
correctly.
here's a poster.
Be careful.
Well, you know what? Get that dump button ready. Okay, I have no clue what that's from. I just know her from Tommy Boy. I'll be honest with you. That's all I know her from.
If you were older like me, the movie 10 was probably one of the most popular movies ever made.
Oh, it looks like
that's where you get the perfect 10 and all of that crap from. Well,
then I don't know.
And she maintained well. She's still, I believe, alive and looking good. You're not going to chew that.
No, it looks like glass.
It really looks bad. Yeah, so I would advise not.
We're going to stay away from that one.
I will not say anything negative about you for not chewing on that one.
Especially after that field goal attempt last week. My insurance is up to date, but that doesn't mean we need to, put it to use. So, okay, there you go. So you're saying we went from your fantasy as a child to your fantasy as an adult. What do we got?
This is going to be one of the best segments this is the segment I've been looking forward to for a long time, is the fantasy football pre-show.
I apologize if I fall asleep.
What we're doing is we're going to try to give you an outlook and an outline for how to approach your draft and possibly how to draft.
Before we go there, what's going on here?
I gave you a Steeler helmet. This is my fantasy football logo, the Polish Intelligence Group. As you know, last year I was better than you.
You had a better record but I scored more points.
Pig was better than, I can't mention your team name in the same way. You really got to be careful opening up a pack of Bo Derek cards.
But
so we're going to pass on the team name thing for right now.
You know what gets left out about this whole first off, I scored more points. But this was also...
Points don't matter.
Yes,
you make the playoffs off of record.
Okay, well... follow me, folks. This league, week 2, somebody changed the format from 6 teams getting into the playoffs to 8.
Showrunner Adam ran the league.
Because you told him to do it.
It was stupid.
There was also rules and scoring adjustments made after the draft. And he wonders why I want no part of this. Between that and I come in the one day, the one guy that's in this league, he's actually in here eating his scabs. So I want to know part of this. And as far as this, this other league where you named it after some of your girlfriends, that's not how it's done. So in Mount Pleasant, I'm a part of 2 fantasy football leagues. The Filling Station restaurant in town, I've been running that league since 2011. They've had no problem since I took it over, unlike before. You guys know what I'm talking about. And then the other league I'm in is named after one of the most legendary prank phone artists in the area, which was the group that I mentioned here and there throughout the show. But this is the league trophy. Which,
why is it burnt?
It's not burnt. That's spray painted on there, kind of like the old NWO.
That's high grade. Look, folks.
That's right.
See, if you want to see high grade,
but go ahead.
If you want to see what high grade looks like, the fantasy football legend thing
that is cool
that I'm wearing right now,
I'll give you that.
Only besmirches or predicates
okay. Good
the King's
stuff.
costume and all the years I won on the bottom.
That's it?
We ran. The lady quit sewing the name. It got boring. You know what? So I'm going to sit here.
Don't run. Don't keep. You're going to.
Oh, I'm wearing this.
Well, you can
put your little plastic belt on anytime you want.
You are going to wear that, and you're going to wear a crown too, because remember.
I have the crown. I forgot it, folks. Next week.
A few episodes ago, you agreed to be to come to the Pee Wee party dressed as the King of Cartoons. So you're going to need all that.
I have no problems with this.
Oh,
this is beautiful. And anyone out there referring to this as the Burger King costume, I'm going to beat you.
No, that's the King of Cartoons. I guess if you're coming as the King of Cartoons, I got to be something else. So
I am the king of the Polish intelligence group, the movement that had taken over fantasy football. So my things that I have done throughout the years, this is how I prepare for a draft. Number one is these are silly things that help you a lot. And you'll probably make fun of this, but this is one of the best things you can do is write down all the numbers of the draft picks. So when you go to use any of the cheat sheets, you can build a mock draft. So in the draft for the league that, I win frequently, the number 4, so I'll have the numbers 4, 17, 46, 37, all the way down, and then you can correspond that with
So it sounds like you should change
the
ADP.
ADP. What's that?
Polish unintelligent group.
This is a great way of doing it. So you can build a draft and understand what kind of team you can build off of the numbers itself. So you're looking at a draft board that looks like this, where I can theoretically pick Josh Allen, Anthony Richardson, Bijan Johnson, Jahmyr Gibbs,
Robinson,
DK Metcalf, Christian
Robinson.
Kirk. It's Anthony Richardson. Yeah.
Yeah, you said Johnson.
Okay, back to this. So Metcalf, Kirk, Brock Bowers, Freiermuth, you can have an idea when you go into your draft through the numbers that you're drafting with. So this is a very helpful thing to do. I use that first. Then I think it's very beneficial to have the depth charts. And as the depth charts, you use these, and when the players get cut, you, of course, black them out, which is something that I do as well with fantasy football. Why are you drafting
players to get cut?
No, that's the blacklist.
Oh, okay.
The dreaded blacklist. I use the blacklist. Players that I've drafted before or players that I don't think have any chance whatsoever. This is your cheat sheet for the draft, which is broken down into quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, kickers, and defenses. So if I blacklist the player out, I won't be dumb enough to think or get muddled with trying to figure out who to draft later. They're not going to be a part of my team. So I don't believe in using these books. These aren't the real books, but these books are just full of ads, and they're made in April. Do not buy these. They're now $15 to $20. You don't want any part of a draft book. It's so much easier just to go on ESPN or CBS, download and print the cheat sheet, work on the ADP, which the ADP stands for average draft position. The problem with the ADPs is, what's up, buddy? The problem with the ADPs is you have stupid people who draft players way ahead of time.
Yeah, like Cameron Hayward.
Connor.
Either way, you would have taken Cameron too if you could.
That was a great long shot. My team was already
really
built.
paid off.
Like, you don't draft players from 10 to the 12th, 16th round that you're taking shots.
You drafted a backup fullback.
Well, who should have been a tight end.
I don't know, that's on Tomlin, not me.
Speaking of which, what do you think of the Steelers quarterback situation right now?
I saw enough at camp. They'll be fine.
You're going with Wilson?
Yeah.
Would you draft Wilson? Who on the Steelers would you draft?
Well, there's people I'm competing against. So when's this air? Next week? Okay, so we'll draft before that. Okay. Yeah, we draft Sunday night, so this doesn't air until Sunday. From the Steelers, I expect this to be a big year for Freiermuth. I really do.
You said that. You've been consistent on that.
As far as if they find a receiver to complement Pickens, but otherwise Pickens is going to be locked down by double or the best corner. So I don't expect his numbers to, unless they get him some help. But offensively, Fryer is the only one that I would draft high.
I look in the
top 5 rounds. I wouldn't take him 1 through 3, but if he's sitting there between. If he's sitting there in the 5th round, I'm taking Fryer.
You guys have heard me say on the show several times, I think Cordell Patterson is probably the best Steeler to draft right now.
But you don't take him high.
That's rounds 9, 10.
Yeah.
He's a backup who has.
He's someone you take in maybe 10 to 12 range.
But you have to be careful in your leagues because your commissioner could set a thing where a guy has to be drafted in the position he's used most at. So you might be what is it called, handcuffed with Patterson, that he only qualifies as a wide receiver or only qualifies as a running back. We had that problem last year.
I wouldn't draft him high, but Boswell's always a safe pick.
Their defense should be good depending on how your points are scored with that. So you pay attention to how the points are distributed as far as defenses go.
No, anything else, man?
Pretty good.
You got a lot of notes, man.
No, these are the different things. The tight ends, these are the depth charts.
You left out the most important part of some of this. It all depends if you're at a standard or PPR. I mean, because
that changes. That's what your ADPs are all about. So ADP, your average draft position, that's one of the things that you have the list of all the players where they tend to be drafted, which the way I draft, I will pick a quarterback in the first round in years past, which destroys my end of the draft rating. So I normally come out of the draft with a D- because I will pick Mahomes. You fell for that last year. I picked Hurts, you picked Mahomes after me. So our draft grades are horrible where someone like Adam, showrunner Adam, drafts 2 running backs off the bat.
Like I told you, Russell Wilson, there was a lot of weeks that because I had him on my bench in multiple leagues, where he was putting up more points than Mahomes or Josh Allen, who I had in another league. So that's why I'm not sleeping. I mean, I ain't telling
Josh Allen, for the record, scored 343 fantasy points last year.
And don't expect that this year. He lost too many weapons up there.
It's huge difference from what he had last year. So that's why someone like James Cook, their running back, is someone you should pay attention to as far as drafting. And he's a running back you could get in probably the 3rd or the 4th round while everybody's going after the higher ends. The player, if you look at the numbers from last year that was impressive, was McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I know he has a history of it being injured, but his jump over the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th running back, the numbers are 50 to 75 points ahead if you have McCaffrey. Allen was that far ahead of everybody but Jalen Hurts.
So to wrap this segment up, who would be your biggest sleeper prediction, not Steeler-wise, but for the whole NFL? Who's someone that could be drafted in the 6 to 12 round that's going to finish near the top?
Right now, Cordell Patterson scored 9 touchdowns last year. I can't be higher on anybody than him. I look for George Pickens to be the exact opposite direction. I think he gets double covered. I don't think Pickens gets 6 touchdowns this year.
Like I said earlier, unless they get him someone to play opposite of him.
The other player that I would look for is Marquise Brown. He's now with Mahomes. He's the same size that Tyreek Hill was. Look out for that.
I think this is a bounce back year for Kyler Murray.
Marvin Harrison allegedly is not coverable in the NFL.
He probably won't be. He wasn't in college, so.
Well, what is the date that the video game comes out?
I don't know. I haven't bought that in probably 15 years. So.
But there is something, you can look this up. The date that Call of Duty comes out, his stats actually decline once that game hits the market.
Well, you know what, though? He's near a contract again because he seems to re-up his contract every 2 to 3 years. They got him some weapons out there, so this could be a make-or-break year for him.
Yes, and going back to what you asked me originally, Keon Coleman and Malik Neighbors are 2 rookie wide receivers who are with good quarterbacks. Yeah. Their ADPs are in the 5 and 7 round area. You might get 2nd or 3rd round money out of both of them.
I'm going to throw another sleeper out there, Najee Harris.
You know how I feel about that.
Oh, you're just jealous because he could.
I think you should still sign Kareem Hunt.
Why?
he hits the hole faster.
Actually, you know what?
With an offensive line that's in trouble like the Steelers allegedly is, you need somebody to hit the line quickly.
No, you know what, though? It depends on what Warren's hamstring situation is going to be. If that's going to linger all year, they probably should call up Kareem.
He finally sees the light.
But only because there's an injury. I mean, you got those guys in Patterson healthy, you don't need Kareem. But that's going to be it for this segment. We're running along. We'll be back after this.
Get ready for a home run of a day. Join us for Fayette County Night at the Washington Wild Things. Enjoy a family-friendly baseball game for just $10 a ticket. Bring your family and make memories that'll last a lifetime. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now.
Welcome back to the closing segment of the Stellar Show here on Fayette County TV, Channel 77. Breeze Line and Q calling the Dukes. He's ready to just take off and go. It's a nice day out, folks.
He wants to go draft after all my great advice.
There you go. So Victor, myself, and we already talked about the Duke. So before I forget, DJ Rick, get a hold of him. We'll put a link up here. So get a hold of him if you have anything that needs DJ'd. And also going on in Mount Pleasant on, let me get the dates here real quick while the Duke's just kind of kicking my notes around. From August 28th to September 1st. It's a 24-hour visitation. We'll place that in there. We got the Traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall at Frick Park in Mount Pleasant. So this thing is well worth coming to Mount Pleasant to check out. That's at Frick Park. There's going to be all kinds of food vendors. So get up there and check out the wall and get something good to eat while you're there. Butch Gallagher put a lot of work into that, and it's going to pay off, which hopefully Mother Nature does her part. Go ahead.
To all of us who are not familiar with Frick Park, where's that located
right in Mount Pleasant, not far off of 119, 31. Yeah, just it's right.
That's not where we watch the fireworks from.
No.
Where the Glass Festival is.
But speaking of the Glass Festival, we will be opening 12 o'clock Sunday, the 29th, and we will be followed by Scott Blasey of the Clarks and Pendulum, CCR Tribute, Rocco Gaudiano, Mount Pleasant legend. Those guys will. So we got a Murderers Row lineup that day, starting with us. We're kicking it off to set it up for Blasey. So what's up, man? Let's close it up. Let's talk some Steelers, Pirates, whatever you got. I see you want to take a jab at my trophy there.
Just kind of wondering if this is Big Lots or where did this come from?
Toys R Us.
How old is this thing?
Not as old as this fossil here, but
this is a Penn State helmet.
Yeah, but did you?
We are.
That you got fecal matter on?
Have we figured out what day the whiteout is?
Yeah, Washington. It's in like November 2nd or 9th off the top of my head. So yeah, if you and Adam are in,
night game.
I think a 3:30 start. But it does get dark.
It will get dark then, so I'm definitely in for that one.
Fair enough. And actually, Derek that sits next to me, he's missing some games. The baby's doing good, everybody. Congrats, Emily and Derek. But their seats next to me and Dan are open for a few games. So if you and Adam want in, get a hold of me.
The whiteout's a guarantee.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
So, on my way here, did you see speaking of Penn State, Dotson in a 5th round traded to the Eagles for a 3rd and 2 7s? Did you see this?
I don't know what Washington's trying to accomplish right now.
Yeah, I don't either. I'll tell you, like there's a team in Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, that needs a wide receiver, and the Commanders just gave one away within their division, which means
weren't the guys saying that this Ayuk thing was done?
Oh, those experts.
Yeah. That was supposedly done last week.
That's why I don't listen to the agenda. That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's been going on a while here.
You know what? And for the record, I don't want Ayuk. If they're going to get big money to receiver, I'd rather it be Pickens over Ayuk. That's just my humble, honest opinion.
I guess they see something in Van Jefferson that the Rams didn't. I
didn't really see too much of him at camp, but that doesn't mean.
Or Cordell Patterson.
He looks sharp.
He's going to end up on this show if I keep promoting him this much.
Maybe we can make that happen.
So Jared Jones had a couple good starts in
AAA. Indy. Yep.
So what's the Pirates' prognosis right now?
Fire Shelton. That's just my opinion.
Do you send Sherrington packing with him?
No, I think with the hand that Sherrington's dealt, I think he's played it pretty good. Shelton, we talked about this off air. You went and got Chapman, who's throwing 105 mile an hour, and you have Bednar closing. This is when they first signed Chapman. I think it was right before the show we were in here talking. I'm like, they're moving Bednar to set up? No, they're going to have Chapman set up. I'm like, well, that doesn't make no sense, and here we are. I think that alone may have kept the Pirates out of the postseason.
A 10-game losing streak will do it every time.
But it's momentum.
What I don't understand, this is why
saves.
Sherrington, to me, is just as much of a problem. And by the way, Barry Bonds, please Bob Nutting sign him. Just don't let him leave Pittsburgh. Let him be the manager and fire Shelton.
I'll take anything at this point. I'll let Duke just draw straws.
But right now is the post-waiver trade
Yep.
time.
It's ending
You
soon.
should stock up on players right now for next year. Teams are looking to cut salaries. You can pick up players right now.
They get on a
the
run, or
cheap.
one of those teams in front of them fall apart. That's what's nice about this wild card going to 6 games. Or sorry, 6 teams. Like, you got 6 teams that can get in there. So I mean, is realistically, is it over? Probably, but I've seen
back
crazier
8 right
things.
now.
The Steelers were a 2% chance to make the playoffs with 3 games left last year, and they got in. So, and now granted, this is different entities, but you can't. It ain't over till it's over.
I would just like to see them maybe pick up bats at this time of year.
Oh, and you know what? Before I forget,
They need bats.
the Capoletti helmet. It was a nice addition to the Ken Cave. That I picked up here at the shop. Get up here, even though he disgraced this Penn State helmet. There are
That's
some
a beautiful thing.
He's still got some other helmets over there for sale. Like I said, cleaned up the Ken Cave with a corner of it with one of the ones I picked up here. So anything before we close this out?
I think we're good on this show.
All right, we'll see you next week. Rise Wrestling is next.